Our new lesson is on multiplying polynomials. Recall from our last lesson that a polynomial is an expression that has more than one term. An example where you multiply polynomials might look like 3x plus 2 times 4x squared plus 3x minus 2, where we're multiplying a binomial, right, because this has two terms, and a trinomial. So how do we even go about solving that? Well, first, let's take a look at a square. Okay, so here's my square, where each side is going to represent, or be represented by x. Okay, so this area right now is going to be x squared, which you guys all knew. Now, what if I wanted to extend my square by a value of 6? Okay, if I were to close this figure, do you notice that my new area is going to be x times x plus 6? Now this looks a little bit familiar, right? This is where we use our distributive property, where we say x times x, which is x squared, plus x times 6, which is 6. And we're left with x squared plus 6x. Okay. And visually, what's inside this box is going to be 6x. So you can see the area is actually going to be x squared plus 6x. Okay, so that was simple enough. But now what if I also, to this square, wanted to add, let's say, 4? Now my new shape will include this figure. Okay, so let's first represent in an equation what that looks like. It's going to be area equals my first side, which is this whole thing right here, is x plus 4. And I need to multiply that with this long side right here, the width, which is x plus 6. Now I have an expression that's multiplying a binomial with a binomial. And what this really is a double distributive property where we have the first term, x, is going to be multiplied to both the x plus 6. And then I'm adding that with the 4, which is also going to be distributed to the x plus 6. This ends up being x squared plus 6x plus 4x plus 24, just as if you distributed in the previous problem. Now we're left to combine like terms, and I have x squared plus 10x plus 24, and that should represent my new area. So let's double check. So let's go back to this rectangle. We had this x squared. We had 6x over here. If I break this up into a smaller area, this little area right here is actually going to be 4x. And this little rectangle is going to be 24. And if I added all these pieces up, I do end up with x squared plus 10x plus 24. So now let's try to multiply these two binomials together. 2x minus 3 times 5x plus 4. Okay, I'm going to do the middle step one more time. This multiplication is like saying 2x, which is going to be distributed to both the 5x plus 4. So 2x times 5x plus 4. And I'm going to subtract 3, or I'm going to distribute that negative 3 to the 5x plus 4. And now you're just going to distribute, and you end up with 10x squared plus 8x minus, right, because of the negative, minus 15x minus 12. And when I combine my like terms, I'm going to end up with 10x squared minus 7x minus 12. And that's it. Okay, so now I'm going to give you 3 problems for you to try. So pause the video and try it yourself. Here's the first example. Okay, so hopefully you've tried it, and now let's do it together. My first step is to distribute this 2x squared to each piece inside the other parentheses. So I get 2x squared times 3x squared is going to be 6x to the 4th. Then I'm going to get plus 4x cubed minus 10x squared. Now I'm going to distribute the positive 5 to each piece. Okay, so I'm going to get plus 15x squared plus 10x minus 25. Okay, now I'm going to find all my like terms, and I guess it looks like it's just these two right here. So I'm going to get 6x to the 4th plus 4x cubed plus 5x squared plus 10x minus 25. And it's okay that it's this long, right? I look at it, I can't combine these anymore, so I'm done. Here's my second example. So pause this again and try it. Okay, here we go. So we're going to distribute the 5x squared to each piece, and sometimes you're going to have more on the left side, and that's okay. So here we go. 5x squared times 3x is going to be 15x cubed. Don't forget to add that exponent. Then we have 5x times negative 8, which is negative 40x squared. I'm on to my negative 3x. I'm going to get negative 9x squared plus 24x. And then finally distribute that 2, and I'm going to get plus 6x minus 16. Okay. My like terms are negative 40x squared and negative 9x squared, and 24x and 6x. So when I combine these, I'm going to end up with 15x cubed minus 49x squared plus 30x minus 16. And that's it. Okay, here's our third example. I threw in a fraction there for you guys to practice with. And try this one. Okay, here we go. So the first step, again, we're distributing the 2/3 x. So we're going to get, well, 2/3 times 6 over 1 gives you 4. So 4x squared minus 8x plus, and now we're on to the 5, 30x minus 60. So we end up with 4x squared plus 22x minus 60. And that's it. Make sure that if you had any questions during this video that you are writing it down in your notebook, and see you in class.